Hello everyone, this is a different sort of video for today, and I know that a lot of my viewers play Deadside, or at least have a good idea about what the game is like, because Deadside is what I upload on my channel. But today I want to make a video for the people that are just now looking at the game, and are wondering what it's like, and if it's worth their time. So today, I'm going to give my honest opinion if you should buy Deadside. So, what is Deadside? Well, according to Steam, it's a open-world survival multiplayer game, but I really don't think that does it justice. You could say the same thing about Minecraft. The first few things that people notice is that in Deadside there are no zombies. There's also not really any survival mechanics outside of food and water. There might be more survival mechanics in the future because the game is still in active development, but that's the way it is now. Deadside is a lot more fast-paced than your typical survival game because of this, and you spend almost all your time thinking about shooting and positioning and where you want to go, rather than if you're gonna die from bleeding or of a cold. Deadside is really focused on its PvP and PvE, and this is complemented by its great player movement and gunplay, which are really the core of this game. And because of this good movement, you don't have to worry about people spamming Q and E, A and D. All the movement in this game seems very grounded, and it just kind of makes sense. And it's honestly a big part of why PvP in this game is so fun. It's also a first and third person perspective game. Some servers are first person only, and others allow both, so you can just choose which one you prefer. So, because it's an open world survival game, some players are going to have lots of gear and other players are not. That's just how it works in these sorts of games, but a really cool thing about Deadside is that even if you have good gear, you're still pretty vulnerable. Even with the best armor in the game, a player that just shoots you in the head or legs with a shotgun has a very good chance of just killing you instantly. Even with assault rifles, the best armor in this game really only makes it so you die slightly slower. I've done a lot of testing to figure this out, and let's just take your typical AK for example. If somebody doesn't have armor, it's only going to take 0.3 seconds to kill them, and if they have the best armor in the game, it's going to take half a second at most. And if they don't have a helmet with a face shield, you could always just shoot them in the face and kill them instantly. And that's one of the coolest things about PvP and Deadside is that all the gear seems relatively balanced. Some are definitely better than others, some being very good, but it's all balanced by price and rarity, so the best things in the game are very hard to get, and some of the easiest things in the game like shotguns are still very viable against any player. It's also not that hard to get decent gear quickly. Even on servers without boosted loot, you aren't going to have to spend half an hour looking for a gun like in DayZ, and then spend another half an hour looking for the mag for that gun. In Deadside, there's usually a weapon in the first town you spawn in. This can be a pistol, or a short shotgun, something like that, and you can easily use this weapon to kill some AI, or a military grade rifle like an AK or a Mosin. And oh yeah, about this AI, you can compare them to scavs from Escape from Tarkov. They're just humans that wander around the map in points of interest. Some are civilians with cheaper weapons, and others are military bots with AKs and Mosins, as I mentioned earlier. But the coolest part about these AIs are the events. There are many different types of events that can spawn, and I'll go over them quickly because they are really the coolest part of this game and are very fun. You have missions, which are the most simple. You just go to a point of interest and kill all the bots there, and once they are all killed, a reward spawns. These missions also have different difficulties, from easy, medium, hard, and epic, with the easy missions being really easy but with a very low reward, and the hard and epic missions being one of the more challenging things to do in Deadside, offering much larger rewards. There are also cargo crates that drop with loot. There are crashed helicopters with helicopter guards, and these guards are some of the most challenging AI to fight in the game, although there's only a couple of them. And finally, you have the Convoys, which were just added in the most recent update. These Convoys are groups of AI with one very challenging boss as their leader. Once you kill them all, they will drop a case. Once that case is picked up by a player, that player is now marked on the map for everybody to see, and they need to take it to a trader so they can open it. That is if they get there before being killed by another player. All these events are marked on the map, and they almost always have good amounts of PvP and PvE mixed together. There's also base building, of course, which is a lot more simple. You don't have to grind for materials like in Rust. Really all you gotta do is just hit a tree with an axe. You will have to buy nails, so there is that, but overall it's not very grindy at all. Just in this most recent update, online only raiding was added, which is super cool, so you don't have to worry about your base being raided while you're offline. The only time you should ever be raided in Deadside is when somebody kills you in PvP, and from that point, you drop a raid token. Then they can choose to activate it, and you will be notified that you're getting raided, and there will also be a timer on the map. So not only will you never be raided offline, but you will always get the chance to defend your base against raiders, which I think is a really cool system. And honestly, I would love to go much more in depth about all of these features, but that would just take too long, so if you want to know more about them, I have guides on my channel. So now let's talk about some other parts of the game. As I mentioned earlier, Deadside is a early access and in development game, and that's going to turn a lot of people off immediately. But one of the most cool things about Deadside is actually how stable it is overall. I've never had a point in my 500 plus hours of playing this game where I crashed during anything important. I have crashed before, of course, but I'm pretty confident that the majority of these crashes are due to my PC rather than the game itself. For example, I crashed the game one time while messing with my display settings while the game was minimized and loading into a server. That's probably my fault. The game isn't bug-free though, there still are some bugs here and there, but it still has less bugs than any other AAA release game at this point. Still, for an early access game, it's got a level of polish that most other early access games simply just don't have, and it gives you a very nice peace of mind because you don't have to worry about any game-breaking exploits or constant crashes. Another thing I want to mention is the community. It's no secret a lot of these types of games have very toxic player bases, like Rust or DayZ. And while Deadside is not immune to this sort of thing, overall the majority of the community is actually pretty nice. At least in my experience. I've made a lot of friends while playing this game, and while there still definitely are some toxic players, the community overall has kept me coming back. So I think at this point you have a pretty good idea what the game is about. And if you still want more information about the game, I have plenty of guides and gameplay on my channel, and I do suggest you check it out. So, should you buy Deadside? Well, if you like everything you've heard so far, then yeah, I think you should give it a try. The base game is only $20, and right now it's on sale until the 8th for $16. And even if you get bored with the game after a while, it's still pretty cheap considering how much content you get out of it, so I think it is still worth your money. But if you're looking for a more slow-paced, survival-focused game with mechanics like weight, stamina, and heat, then this is just not the game for you. Instead, I highly recommend DayZ Namalsk for that slow-paced, immersive survival experience. So, if you have any questions about the game, I would be very happy to answer them in the comment section down below. If you do decide to pick up the game, I highly recommend that you find a community server. They offer a much better experience than the official servers because they have active admins that can take care of cheaters and toxic players. I have my own Deadside server if you're interested, just search Loaf in the server browser. It's first person only and limited to a 3-man squad size. There are also plenty of other good servers, Just Survive is great. If you're in the EU, I recommend United Gunners, those guys are super cool. Just explore and see what you like. So, that's all I have for now, and I'll talk to you guys later. See you.